Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hey there, hi there, ho there. This is RHJunior, RHJunior Reality Check, coming to you live over the internet through the system of tubes of the boob tube known as YouTube, bringing you another broadcast of yet another sampling of my little contribution to the internet, Spleen Squeezins. Does not like me. Okay, I have no idea. One, two, three. Okay, there's apparently, okay, that little method just didn't work. All right, hey there, hey, hello everybody again. Let me pull up some music here. Is desk gaming Avengers. That ain't the right number. It says audio, tabletop audio, ambiances and music. Ambiances and music for the tabletop role-playing games. Show player. And let's add a few. Let's see. Add. Add. I'm just going to add some random music here. I'm just going to stick some ambience. Minimal music. Fishing Village. Neon Drive. I don't, you know, I'm just picking stuff at random here. Okay, and let's play. Oh, that's fairly nice. I have no idea if the sound system will loop, but if it doesn't, we'll deal with it as it comes. Hello! Hello. There's one other person in the channel here. I'm so excited. I've tuned in. There's me and somebody else. We've established a link across the void through the miracle of cyberspace, through the atmosphere, maybe even a satellite or two, a couple of carrier pigeons, a young boy on a yacht carrying a bag of ones and zeros. We have established communication. Oi! Gewalt! Oh, my butt's killing me again. I swear. Okay, this is my wine for that. Please, somebody send me a nice chair. This one is a piece of crap. Wah. If you're feeling charitable, put the chair in charitable. Please feel free to send me a office chair. Probably have to be one with no arms in order to accommodate my huge backside. I don't know how long it'll last. Most office chairs only rated for like 100 pounds or so. And they sell them to Americans. But me, I need a slightly heftier bad boy. But this one, the one I bought, it feels like I put it all together, I assembled it, and the way it fits together, it feels like they took parts out of two different chair sets and stuck them in one box because they don't fit together right. The back does not, the back does not butt up against the seat. They don't meet together properly. The seat is actually canted forward, so it's tilted forward, and I'm constantly sliding just a little bit forward, and so it puts weight on my knees while I'm sitting here, which is, I'm like, what kind of a-hole designs a office chair like this? It'll keep the little peasants awake while they're working. you know, horrible human beings. All right, and somebody left. They left me all alone. Somebody ran off. They ran away. Where are you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone? I searched the world over and thought I found true love. You met another and you were gone. My dad liked to split it. I used to sing that when I was a little bitty boy. We watched Hee Haw all the time, and naturally I picked up that song. One day I was outside. I was like 4 years old. I started singing it, and I got to, you met another and you were gone. And I thought Dad was going to rip something open, and he laughed so hard. I'm like, what's so funny? It's just a song. Kind of a sad song, too, actually. I spend most of your childhood being laughed at and not understanding why. Good Lord of mercy, I don't know. Okay, this house has been an oven up until it's 7:52 right now. It's nearly 8. It's only just now starting to cool down. I've got an air conditioner at the front house, air conditioner at the back of the house. All I can do is pray, please, dear Jesus, do not let this thing fall apart this week. That's because I will die. They'll find me. I'll have sweated to death. I'll be fabulously skinny, but also be dead. Yeah. All right. Okay, we got 2 people in here. Please say something in the chat window. Please say something in the chat window so that I know you're talking to me. Anything you'd like to ask about the comic strips, the fan fictions, anything? I'll be blunt. When it comes to writing, it is worlds easier to start out with somebody else's world. Fanfiction is easier to write. But to be fair, think of all the people who work for other companies writing episodes for TV shows and such. Or filling in for the author of a book series, that kind of thing. It's actually a career move these days. I learned some very interesting thing. This is a bit of advice. I wish I had this bit of advice given to me long ago. I don't know if I would have incorporated it, or even I would just probably ignored it, being a dumb kid. But I wish I had this bit of advice about writing, about world building in particular. Now you see, in world building, the trick is, it's not to go in depth. The trick is to go broad, not deep. A good example of that is if you've ever watched the original Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal. They made this fabulous movie. Jim Henson made this fabulous movie with all this wonderful detail. It was a fully developed and detailed. It was a fully developed and detailed world, but you didn't stop and go into tremendous depth with it. You got little bits of detail, but lots of little details all over the place. And generally, the writers left, the depth of the world up to the imagination of the viewer. So at the same time, you had this rich, beautiful world. There was all sorts of room for the imaginations of the audience to work. We still don't know what a fizz gig is. We don't know who, there are so many details about the world of the Dark Crystal that we don't know. And we'd be kind of be less for knowing it. A lot of the mistake that you make is when you try and go into meticulous detail over some aspect of your world. Star Wars is a good example. The original trilogy, broad but not deep. But there was all sorts of wonderful details about the fantastic world of Star Wars. All the subtle little details about all the background details, the music, the critters that were all over the place, the aliens, the buildings, the little things like the decorations in the kitchen of Luke's home, things like that. And you saw this big, beautiful, expansive world, and you could just fall into it. But then they went and made the prequels, and Lucas became obsessed with digging and digging and digging and digging and digging and digging in detail about everything in his universe. We went deep, but not broad. He didn't expand on his universe; he went deeper. And we lost out, and it became less enjoyable. In a word, midichlorians. The smartest thing he ever did is in the original trilogy, just leaving the details of the Force, vague and mystical, and. But then he went into the next phase, and all of a sudden we're getting pages and pages and pages of details about these damned midichlorians. And, suddenly the magic was gone. Another example, one of the reasons that most people are so enamored of the world of Avatar. Again, broad detail. You see all these incredible creatures going about their daily lives in the background in Avatar. These alien critters, running around and flying and climbing trees and having babies and doing it and all the little things. But you don't spend all day just staring at one. And you see that you're given this broad overlook at the natives. But if they ever go into detail about the tribal life of the Avatar aliens, it's going to lose its magic very quickly. Now, there was one point where they, in the original Avatar movie, where it became very obvious, these peaceful, wonderful, serene, one with nature natives were in fact capable of tribalism and of killing each other. Because they were about to sacrifice the protagonist and the leading lady in the traditional fashion too, and it was very obvious. But not to wander off on the details, but when I created the world of the Rakonans. I could have really done with that advice. Go broad, not deep. Because when you go deep, when you try and make all the imaginary intricate details of the underside, you're going to get it vastly wrong, or you're going to come away with unfortunate implications. Now, here's another example of the Harry Potter franchise. The Harry Potter franchise, the first couple of books, boom, we're dropped into the middle of this magical world that's fit into the nooks and crannies of the real world. And we're gobbling up all this candy she's throwing at us, right? The unicorns and the magic and the Philosopher's Stone and the castle and and the talking paintings and the ghosts and and the villains and the heroes and and Diagon Alley. You know how old I was before I figured out that was a pun. That was sad, but she took out all the glitter and whoosh, here's our world. And then she stopped spreading anymore. She never took her world anywhere except Hogwarts, Diagon Alley, and Privet Drive. This is one of the major flaws of her story. It's not a world; it's a suburb. She should have kept broadening it and broadening it. She should have, added little references and details and just little things in the things mentioned in passing. Just to spark the imagination of the reader. Instead, the reader gets to spend all his time staring and staring and staring and staring at the Ministry of Magic and going, "This place is really screwed up." Anyway, did I hear that Disney cut out one of the blooper scenes from Toy Story 2? No. In fact, I don't think I've seen the blooper reels from Toy Story 2. It's not a riveting concern of mine, actually. Man, you go back and look at Toy Story 1 compared to, like, Toy Story 3. Man, that Andy kid was just a homunculus. He was just so, uncanny valley compared to what they do today. Thank goodness for progress, It'd be interesting to see them remaster it, using better models and stuff. Just to see how much, how much more it pops, visually speaking. Now, was there I'm trying to go lower carb. I say, like yesterday or the day before yesterday, I said, fine, screw it. I'm going to go low carb. The instant I typed the words low carb into my Facebook, I promptly got bombed with thousands of keto merchandise products. Buy these keto brownies. The problem. The problem is, the more I look at it, the more suspicious I get, the more concerned I get. Okay, for the same reasons that I'm concerned about vegans. Okay, think about it. Vegans spend absolutely unholy amounts of time and money and effort trying to convince people that the fake food that they made from other food is the same as the real food. Soybean meat, almond milk. Oh, here's one for you. If you think that almond milk is kind to Mother Nature, no. First of all, those dairy cows got it good. Those dairy cows have got nothing to do but stand there. They can lounge around, eat oats and corn and grass and lactate. There isn't a much easier job description. You know what I'm saying? 2, the almond farms in California are they are causing a serious problem. They're messing up the environment up there. Because almond trees just require tons and tons and tons of water. California's got all these water problems. What are they doing? They're growing almonds. They're letting most of the state go thirsty so that somebody else can grow almonds and make milk out of them. Can you imagine being before the Almighty and God's going, okay, what are they doing down there? They're making almonds into milk. They're making almonds into milk. I gave them 8 different animals, to give them milk from. What are they? They don't like that kind of milk. They don't like that kind of milk. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. But no, and also it's a health issue because this, basic rule of thumb for paleo, the philosophy behind the paleo diet, it could be summed up very simply. The more effort it takes to turn it into food, the less likely it is to be good for you. I mean, you can take a cow, whack it over the head, whoomp, start up the fire, shabam, steak, hamburger, beef. You can pull up a carrot, wash it off, eat it, carrot food, But what do we got to? Most of our carbs come from things like flour and corn, which require you take them, you grind them, you cook, you grind them into flour, and then you cook them into bread, and then you just. And most of the high carb, low meat diet requires you use things, vegetable oil. My goodness. Corn oil, bad for you, very, very bad for you, and they're confirming it. It's the high vegetable oil, and it has animal proteins, animal fats. We process them better. Vegetable oils, not so much. Do you realize? Well, let's put it this way: how much corn would a caveman have to eat to get to get the same amount of vegetable oil in his diet that we get? Eating a bag of corn chips. Or eating anything that's been fried in vegetable oil. You'll notice that you fry stuff in vegetable oil, it doesn't taste as good. This is one of the things that's walloped McDonald's in the chodes. They stop, people, the usual suspects, the whiny bitches of veganism, started. Oh, these potatoes are cooked in animal fats. They're cooked in tallow, and the French fries used to be fried in beef tallow. McDonald's French fries used to be cooked in beef tallow, and they used to be delicious. Then they switched to vegetable oil. It's not just me saying. I mean, food critics came out and said that these are terrible now. Julia Childs, you've probably never seen her. She's sort of an archetype of cooking shows. First we fry the turkey, and then we cut the meat along the grate. You've heard her. You've heard imitations of her, but you've never heard her. Oh, how lovely! But anyway, we started using vegetable oil to fry everything. And suddenly, heart disease started going up, and the flavor of the food started going down. We stopped, people started pushing us to take the fats out of food, and so we did, and they had to put more sugar in them just to keep them from tasting awful. And yeah, guess what? Everybody's suddenly getting fatter. Well, anyway, getting back to this. You look at these vegans, and they're out there trying to convince if they really believed what they said, if they really believed that their diet was healthier and morally superior and everything else, why are they trying to fake a carnivore's diet? They're out there making like soy milk and almond milk and coconut milk and it's just as good as the real thing. And they're making soy burgers and veggie sausages and they're trying to imitate real food. And now you come over here, and what do you got? The people on the exact opposite side, the people who are supposedly, the keto diet people, They're doing the exact same thing.
It almost tastes like real bread. Hey, you don't need flour to make a cake. Here, let's grind up some more nuts and make it into bread.
You know, we're finally reversing the fallacy of the lipid hypothesis in our society. We're finally breaking away from the high carb, low protein, low fat mistake of the 1960s. But now it looks like everybody's going to go bonk it, just woof over to the other side, over to the opposite extreme. This is just as bad. And I don't know it's bad. But when the people on the left side of the boat are acting exactly the same as the ones on the right side of the boat, you know that this boat's going to go tipped over. So I'm sitting here. Okay, I'm going to cut back on my carbs. I'm going to cut back on the amount of bread I eat and the amount of sugar in my diet. I'm drinking the last of my Kool-Aid right now. I used up just about the last of my white sugar to make a jug of Kool-Aid because it's so freaking hot here. And warm water, I hate to say it, but room temperature Kool-Aid's easier to drink than room temperature water. And I had some popcorn too. I had a couple of hot dogs earlier that were no buns. See, I'm following the faith. Ugh. But I'm going to try and be lower the amount of breads and pastries and junk in my diet. Trying to eat more healthy. Trying to eat more high protein, and But as far as the keto diet and the vegan diet and all of them, I've reached a point where I pox on both their houses. And the environment in our environment, our society, and our economy, we can't afford to be trading in either. We can't afford either almond milk or almond bread. Do you know what? I'm scared to look up what almond flour costs. It's something like $10 a bag. Good night. Anyway, okay, we've got people in channel. Time to drink from the hose. Okay, what is this? That's a reference to Weird Al Yankovic's magnum opus UHF. Stanley Spadowski's house. Stanley Spadowski's Playhouse. I go and admit, yeah. If they really did make a Stanley Spadowski's Playhouse, it would be brilliant children's entertainment. But anyway, okay, we got 4 people. One of them's me. One of them's MDB. Who are the rest of you? Show yourselves. We have you covered. Okay, nobody's talking. I'll wait. I know there's a delay. I know there's a time delay. I know there's like a 30-second delay between me and you and back again. Something like that. But feel free to... Oh, by the way, Happy Independence Day, belated. I was going to do a July 4th show, and then I thought about it, and I thought, okay, either everybody's going to be out at a picnic, but, nobody's going to be around to watch this, so, So, there we go. Yeah, let's go with that for a while. Okay, we got Mr. Cartoon Critic. We've got Benchcar. We've got MDJBC, and we've got me. Rock and roll. I don't think I'm even going to make it to Monday on this carb diet thing, low carb diet idea. Already I'm like, I want a pie. Don't even have any money for a pie. Don't even have a pie. Don't even have ingredients for a pie. I want a pie. Would a pizza pie do? A pizza pie will do. But, yeah. Have I seen Agretsuko? I've seen a couple of clips of it. It's cute as heck. It's a funny idea, but I think I don't think I'd want to watch it. For one thing, I'm not a fan of death metal, and for another thing, watching some poor cute little tanuki suffering through being a corporate wage slave. My despair event horizon right there. Nah. Okay, the latest thing, I've got a new chapter up. There's a new chapter up of the Great Alicorn Hunt. It was posted yesterday, and also a new chapter of Deku the Warcrafted. That title almost sounds badass, Deku the Warcrafted. If you don't know the source, it's you can have this really awesome title. It's Deku the Warcrafted, an awesome saga of heroes, good and evil, battling across cosmos. What is it? Oh, it's a fanfic. Just from a couple of cartoon shows I used to watch and a video game that I used to play. It's just so fun. It's like get away from me, fanboy, fan fiction writer. Before your contagion spreads, go away. Shoo. Yeah. Well, she's not a tanuki. She's a red panda. That's right. Got to get it right. Tanuki is a fictional creature, actually. No, actually, it's not. It's a real. It's just that she's not one of them. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, I ate some popcorn, microwave popcorn. That fake synthetic non-butter just sticks to your lips. Maybe I should get Gatorade. Meh. You know what I want out of life? I just want to, to enjoy what I like. To eat and drink and sleep, and not have anybody judging me on how I'm doing it. You can't even sleep properly anymore. Somebody's out there. Well, you're not using lumbar support, or you're not using an appropriate mattress, or you're not sleeping at the proper hours or the right time. Get out of my face, man. If you listen to all these people with all their advice on how to, how you need to be more, mindfulness lessons and, eating properly and sleeping properly and this and that, they talk about it as if they were going to, have a transcendental ascendance if they follow all this advice. This is exasperating. It's really exasperating. I'm on the diet. I don't even have any chocolate in the house. I don't have any pie or anything like that. I don't have any cookies or any sweets or any treats like that. Ran out of them a week ago. But I don't have any of that stuff right now, and I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have minded. But now that I have made up my mind that I'm on a diet, all I can think about is that stuff. And now listen to me, and now it's all I can talk about. This is why I hate going on. I know that I need to eat, but I know need to be healthier. But I hate what my life turns into when I go onto a diet. It stops being a life. I stop having a life. I have a calorie counter and a list of forbidden foods. Anyway, speaking of, let's move on to something else before I start gnawing on the furniture. I think I spilled some cocoa here a week ago. Okay, let's see. Speaking of the Warcrafter, any idea how you mentioned some guy who hasn't appeared yet? I'm not sure what you're referring to. There's a couple of things that they haven't done yet, in particular. The next chapters, if I ever get around to doing those chapters, Greg has to go home and meet his family and try and get them, inform his family, get them to safety. There's a minor character named Geralt who is indirectly tied into things. Basically, the next couple of chapters basically is them, the Warcrafted pulling in all their friends and associates, getting them in out of the cold and hunkering down and bunkering up in preparation for what comes next. And they're not going to do it in get everything done in time, because they've got a Cord to worry about. They've got the Teeth, the Slaughterhouse 9, a couple others out there. I forget which one. And they also have to deal with the Empire 88. Geralt? Who is Geralt? I don't know who Geralt is supposed to be. Oh, Geralt? No, wait a minute. That's not what I was talking about. No. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Who is Geralt? Where did you see the reference to somebody named Geralt? I hate this time delay. I feel like I find myself talking like I'm talking to an exceptionally slow person. I didn't say anybody named Geralt. Oh, Garrotte. Garrotte. Greg knows her online as G-String Girl. She's a case 53. Basically, she looks like a human face attached to a sea anemone or a giant jellyfish, and she's covered with tentacles that she can't control, that are strong enough to snap steel bars in half, and she can't control them because they keep lashing out and wrapping and strangling anything she comes. Hence the name Garrotte. And she's in an asylum for people with uncontrollable powers. And she met Greg online, even though he's the loser Void Cowboy, the internet troll. They ended up becoming friends anyway. Greg is in for a few surprises when he goes to meet his online friend. In both storylines, and actually in Ladybird, he's going to have the same encounter because it's going to occur to him, after he pulls out of his mope. Oh, gee, I haven't talked to G-String Girl in ages. She's probably worried sick, and then he finds out who she is. But don't worry, it's it's going to be a happy ending. Trust me. The latest chapter of Deku the Warcrafted. Where Toro, the invisible, he gives a card for the Lost Workshop to the Invisible Girl. I really wasn't quite sure where I was going to go with that. On one hand, I could have them the idea is that they're not just limited to stuff from Warcrafter anymore. They've been, you can go by their art gallery displays and their museum pieces that they've been picking up odds and ends from all sorts of fictional universes. Like the speed formula from The Flash. Or dozens of other ways to gain superpowers just from DC Comics or from Marvel. That sort of thing. Magic rings, talismans, genies and lamps. But I was originally thinking that the Invisible Girl, I'd have them, hit her with some cosmic rays from like the Fantastic Four, so she'd get a boost in power, and so she'd have invisible force fields too. I'm like, okay, the Fantastic Four did it, and the Incredibles did it, and it gets a little old. Oh yes, one of the things is, this is a spoiler for the end of the Warcraft. One of the last things that the agents are going to do as a race, so far as intervening in the Wormverse, is that in particular for the for the people who are in the Lost Workshop, they're going to separate the shards from the entities. And you remember the chapter where Celestia and Luna in you remember the chapter in Celestia and Luna where in Ladybird, where Celestia and Luna basically gutted the shard that was going after Greg. The idea is that in the original canon, the shards are actually, basically they're giant organic computers that they plop themselves down on one of the millions of parallel Earths and form a connection from there to their host, and channel their powers in through extra-dimensional. And one of the consequences, this is canon in Worm. Nobody on planet Earth with a shard, if they leave Earth, they lose their powers. Presumably, they can regain them by coming back. They basically, once they leave Earth, they are out of the transmission range of their shard. So, one of the things that's going to be happening is that the agents are going to change it up in the same way that Celestia and Luna did. Rip out all the surplus stuff, give them a compact power supply, fold them up in a tesseract, basically make them portable again, so that they become a part of the host rather than being connected by a tether. So that none of the Warcrafted or any of the other capes are leashed to the planet anymore. Anyway, they're not going to muck around. The Warcraft, the Lost Workshop isn't going to mess around handing out shards. Oh, definitely. All their stupid limitations are basically ripping out increasing their, all the stupid all the idiot balls that are built into the shards get gutted out. Unfortunately, they're not going to be handing out shards from the Lost Workshop. Is what I'm saying, is because the shards, let's say they're just even dramatically renovated, they're not exactly considered trustworthy technology. These are people who are going to be handing out literal genies and jerk-ass monkey paws and things like that, and they don't want to mess with the shards. It's sort of like asking people why they don't want to pass out defective copies of Windows.
This time we fixed it for sure.
Oh, feeling a bit bloated. I don't know what I'm going to get done today, if anything. It has been a roasting oven in here today, and I haven't gotten anything done. And this broadcast is the grand sum total of it, and I'm starting to feel gut rumbles from my drastic shift in diet. As you may have guessed, Aisha triggered while still in war, before the end of the Warcrafter, and her big brother had a secondary trigger. He can now disappear and reappear anywhere that his black smoke is. Not to get all deep and dramatic and gritty and hardcore or anything. Yeah. Sorry to wander off. Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to ask? As I said, you got a new chapter of both. I think giving Toru the invisible girl pardon, giving her uh, Doctor Strange's flying cape. I'll admit that was completely out of left field. I don't know why, I don't know where it was coming from, but there it was. I had them, and having him make it into an invisibility cloak on top of everything else. Enchanted dragon mechs. I don't know where they would be inserted into the story. In the Warcrafter, not dragon mechs. Well, other than the ones that the main character dragon already makes, but there might be dragons. There are at least a couple of artifacts in World of Warcraft that let you transform into a dragon. One of them is actually a mount. Sandstone dragon. Not my favorite look for it, the idea of a gritty sandstone, an animal made out of gritty rocks, just doesn't really rock for me. But they've been doing some updates on the game, so there might be some new stuff that might be fun to play with. Yeah. Merging it? No, that's Dragon, the artificial intelligence from Worm. She's probably going to take a whack at it. I've got a few surprises planned. For one thing, it's going to turn out that at least a few divisions of the PRT and the Protectorate are way more competent than people think they are, or that Cauldron is supposed to let them be. You'll recall what they did with the headbands. And that's just one of the Azeroth uh, technological toys that they got from Skinwalker at Christmas. Parabellum. I'm trying to think of where. Me am thinking hard, not work too good. I cannot brain, I has the dumb. Oh, there's going to be quite a, it's going to be a bit of lap over. It's just, I'm just, I've got some absolutely freaking hilarious stuff planned out for their encounter with the teeth and the Slaughterhouse Nine. A gang of homicidal psychopaths and a team of 9 mass murderers. It's a comedy fest. Yeah, but seriously though, the big bad boogeymen of the teeth and of the Slaughterhouse Nine are in for the most horrifying and humiliating experience of their life. As brief as it will be. Do they get possessed by? You think? I think you're referring to what's the name of the villain that? No. Yeah, the leader of the teeth. I know who you're referring to, but I can't remember his name. His or her name, depending on which incarnation he is. But no. Now, I read one story once. They had a very interesting approach. Now, as you recall, there is a teleporting assassin named Oni Lee who works for the. Oh yeah, there's the leftovers of the Asian bad boys to deal with too. Oh, they got a full plate. Anyway, the Oni Lee, he has a destructive form of teleportation. Every time he teleports, he loses, a little bit of his mental function because it inefficiently copies his mind. Well, in this story, they determined that if he goes without teleporting for long enough, he eventually recovers his functionality. Anyway, near the last chapter, in this particular story, it was Danny who triggers with a power. He triggers with the power of the control of rats. Rats, mice, any type of rodent. And he becomes a really kick-ass superhero. And what's more, he becomes a great superhero leader because, because of his experience, leading the dock workers union, or being one of the leaders of the dock workers union. He's the only hero that his approaching philosophy is he goes in, faces either a hero or a villain or the protectorate or whoever, and he asks one question first: what is it you want? And then he leverages the answer he gets into a solution. And it is a really brilliant story. He actually manages to make up a team of rogues, that former villains, including Oni Lee. And along the way, the thing of it is that the entire team is concerned about Taylor because she is the only one who doesn't have any actual superpowers. And there's chaos flying in every direction, and she's not safe. They do everything from equip her with a suit of battle armor, giving her boosters, things like that. But at the end, at one of the final major battles, the teeth show up. And Oni Lee engages him. This guy has to go down. So Oni Lee, he basically makes a suicide move. Now, the thing of it is that whoever kills the leader of the teeth, Ravage, I believe his name, or Rampage, or leader of the teeth. Well, look it up here. Got an internet, darn it. Let's see. Butcher. I don't know why I was thinking Rampage. Anyway, Butcher. The thing of it is that any person that kills Butcher inherits all the powers of the previous Butcher. But he also gets the memories and voices in his head of all the previous dead Butchers. And so at this point, they're like up to Butcher number 13. And so this 13th Butcher is running around. He's got 13. He's got a dozen different powers. 13, a baker's dozen, counting his own. And he's got 12 voices, vengeful, angry, insane voices screaming at him in his head. And whoever kills the Butcher is going to end up with 13 voices in their head, just that way. This is the reason the Butcher is so insane, because they drive him insane quickly. Well, anyway, Oni Lee engages the guy, kills him, and inherits the power. Then he hands his sword to Taylor and begins teleporting himself in place over and over and over and over and over again, a dozen times, dozen times, 2 dozen times, 3 dozen times, until he literally erases his own mind and all the voices inside his head completely. And Taylor realizes what they've done, because they are surrounded by monsters and maniacs and superpowered villains, and all hell's breaking loose. And he's literally lobotomized himself to give her a chance. And so she gives him a mercy kill. And she inherits all the powers that Oni Lee had just picked up, without all the Butchers in it. She's literally in one step become one of the most powerful capes on the battlefield. It sort of ends on the story in particular. That story in particular ends on it ends on a cliffhanger. It's sort of bleak, sort of cliffhanger. One of those Bolivian army endings. As they call it. Anyway. That's one of the more brilliant ideas I've heard of for dealing with the Butcher. I've got a few ideas in mind for how the butcher gets dealt with. Now, these next few, next few chapters of the Warcraft are going to be them basically going into the belly of the beast. Things start going bad. The bad guys start showing up in force. The security measures they established are going to start breaking, so on and so forth. And some of the enemies they thought they had sidelined are going to start making for retaliation. Cauldron in particular. I really shouldn't have eaten that popcorn. I feel like I got a lump in my chest. A lump of dry popcorn in my throat, or in my esophagus or something. And the Kool-Aid does not help. All right. Come on now. Ben is the only one asking questions here. Come on. Anybody else got anything they'd like to ask? Anything they'd like to know? Come on. Give us a smile. Reversing course. I'm really not sure what else I'd have to talk about. Oh, that thing. Here's something to take in mind. You heard about Antifa throwing milkshakes at people? Do not let them, if you are anywhere near the Antifa, do not let them do that to you. It's more than just pettiness. It's more than just throwing something nasty on you. The Antifa, those milkshakes, what they do is that they mix in powdered cement mix. And you're going like, why powdered cement mix? Because when cement mixes with water, it is a very hot chemical reaction. It's caustic. It can cause nasty, drying cement on your skin can cause wet cement on your skin can cause caustic burns. And here's the kicker: is that by mixing it with a milkshake, the lactic acid and the chemical the milk makes the cement dry slower, so it stays liquid longer. Now, this is why Antifa is throwing milkshakes at people. Those aren't just milk; those are caustic acid bombs. They can cause terrible burns if they get in the eyes. It's almost impossible to rinse them out, and they burn the eyes out. It's awful. It's really awful. It's basically lye mixed with powdered rock. So this is no joke. And that right there screams that some little asshole in their little organization is a weekend chemist to come up with that nasty crap. That is a that is a it is that is a weapon that somebody designed to hurt and maim people. They start bringing out the dogs and the riot hose, and the nightsticks. I'm going to be applauding. These aren't just angry, stupid kids. These are vicious little terrorists, sniveling cowards who intend. They're not out there protesting for a glorious cause. They're out there. They're out there looking to maim people, to destroy businesses, grievously injure, mutilate, blind people even. And they're doing it for shits and giggles. What do I think of people like McCain? I try not to. I don't know what McCain's been up to. Don't care. Cortez is out there in the front again, accusing everybody who's shut her down. Everybody who's made her shut her big stupid horse mouth. Oh, they're racist. Oh, they're sexist. That's the left for you. The equivalent of a 6-year-old calling somebody duty head. I didn't know about McCain being dead. I don't know what he died of. Well, old age. He was what, 70, 80? He served his country in Vietnam, but he went on to adopt bad politics. Now he's going on to his final rest and his final judgment. So enough has been said about him. I'm not going to be particularly happy that any man is dead. There are some truly horrible people out there which we would all be better off if they just vanished to a desert island someplace for the rest of their lives. Quite a few that seem to be daring God to try substituting a lightning bolt for a meteor strike on them. But McCain was one of the lesser evils in this life. One of the far lesser ones. Let him go, the Bible warns us not to rejoice overmuch at the downfall of our enemies, lest God see and be displeased. I tend to keep that in mind from time to time. Considering, actually, let's put it this way: there was a stretch where it looked like it was a choice between Obama and McCain for president. Guess which one I would have rather had? He would have been barely better, but still, people get crazy. Got people out there screaming bloody murder. Screaming how they wish some dumb sports player would keel over dead of cancer or leprous maggots eating their brain because they missed a free throw. That Copernic guy. He's an idiot who got elevated to a position where he had way more money than brains and way more celebrity than even had money. And that's a formula for a mess and a half. Copernic, he's nothing new. He's just another jackass who blames everything wrong in the world on the color of his skin. For every Copernic millionaire, there's like a million or so, guys working down here on the street that are the exact same way, have the exact same stupid attitude. He's paying the price. His career is suffering. Wishing death on the moron is kind of excessive. Spray him with a hose, swat him with a newspaper, and be done with it. Don't get out the shotgun and shoot him because he pooed on your shoe. We'll never know. We'll never know how much of a we'll never know how genuinely conservative McCain was, other than what we can observe from his actions. I didn't have high hopes for Trump when he got in office. I haven't had high hopes for a politician in a long time. Either they bend like linguini when they get in office, or they quit halfway there. If I had a buck for every promising candidate who bailed out of the wagon halfway to the voting booth. Thomas Sowell, for instance. I've had at least 2 or 3 African American men. These guys, they were running for president, and they had no chance in hell because the press, a conservative black man, is like telling them to photograph Bigfoot. They are horrified at the notion that there are African American people in this country who aren't Democrats or on the dole. Alan Keyes, that was the name of the other fella. Brilliant man, highly intelligent, very well spoken. Alan Keyes is a man able to enunciate and to eloquently explain conservative and Christian values in detail and unsubtly, so that anybody can understand them. That's why they hated him, because everything he said made them mad. I would have voted for Alan Keyes in a heartbeat. Boom. Would have voted for Thomas Sowell in a heartbeat. But boom. No, they're not going to let me. No, they're going to do the press, the media and the press and the left are going to do everything in their power to keep conservative African American people away from the White House. And then they're going to talk about how, so that they can talk about how white people hate black people and would never vote for them. Eh. The first time I heard that Trump was running for president, I thought, okay, this is a joke, right? I thought he was just jerking people's chains. I seriously did. Now I watched him all the way to the office. I'm like, holy crap, he did it. I've told these stories so many times, but one of the things that I've learned from observing Trump so far, the moment you think you've got him over a barrel, that's when you'll find out you're under it. You think you got the better of him? You think Trump has been a businessman for how many decades? He's actually lost wealth since becoming a politician. He used to be something like worth $8 billion. He's now worth like $3. Well, I forget how much. You'd have to look it up. He's lost by at least half of his wealth because he's paying more attention to being a politician. He's not running his business empire himself anymore. You know, every time everybody thought that Trump was a joke. And every time people have thought Trump was a joke, he's yanked the rug out from under them. He's far from the most moral or morally decent man to have in office. And I regret that greatly. You know, the man's been divorced how many times? And he allegedly, everybody alleges that he cheated on his previous wives. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's true or not. But this is an option between a man but again, this was it's always, as long as we're living on earth and until the end times, until the New Jerusalem drops down, picking a politician to lead the way picking a leader is always going to be picking the lesser of two evils. Always. The price for not supporting the lesser of two evils is to have the greater evil in charge. It would be lovely if everybody, refused to vote until. But I hate to break it to everybody, Jesus isn't running for president this year. And he's not liable to be running in the next campaign either. All we can do is pray for the leaders we get. And try and avoid being stupid enough to hire someone who's even worse than what we got. Oh my. Beg your pardon. Big yawn. I'm sorry, man. I mean, even the kings out of the Bible, King David, King Solomon, routinely getting up to things that would have people today howling in outrage. We've been blessed that God is apparently watching over this current presidency, holding back the tide against those that want to destroy this country. Run a little low on steam. Thought I'd do some drawing tonight. I just got a bit. I'm sorry. Not feeling good. I'm never feeling good. That's just the story of my life. You know what I miss? I miss having something that's comfortable. Everything the furniture I got, and everything is just starting to broke down. Kind of broke down, and or poorly manufactured. Looking around, I go to bed at night. I sleep in an uncomfortable bed. Wake up aching and hurting. I get up, come in here, and sit in an uncomfortable chair. I don't even have comfortable shoes. I don't have slippers that I could put on my feet. They don't fit in anything anyway. Uh, I have a recliner, and the recliner won't. I can't recline in it because the levers aren't strong enough to lift my legs. So I have to slouch down in that thing, and that's not comfortable either. I miss being comfortable. That's part of the reason I'm trying to go low carb, hoping that if I shuck some of this weight, some of the fat, that I'll be able to, my the rest of my body will start cooperating with me a little better. It's not a good day. I'm feeling out of sorts and I'm not thinking straight. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I can't. I have to switch back and forth between all these little levers and things that I have on this computer just to see if everything's playing right. Trying to fix these displays here. They're not cooperating too well. I could use some wise counsel. My objective for tomorrow is to literally and deliberately do nothing. I'm going to be trying to. Last weekend, I did the same thing. I deliberately forced myself to stay in bed, sleep as long as I possibly could. Just forcing my body to reboot itself. I'm sorry I missed y'all on the 4th. I really wanted to do something for the 4th of July, run something off, but I didn't. I realized most of y'all would be out at picnics during the day or visiting family, and at night you'd be out watching the fireworks. Around here we had fireworks in every which way. I could actually sit here in my living room and see them through the blinds. About not even a mile, half a mile distant, quarter mile, not even that. Maybe 200-300 yards actually. I don't know how far. I don't know how to measure things. I'm a terrible judge of distance. That's why God made rulers, measuring tape. Anyway, it is July 5th. It is 9:20. I've got like $130 left in the bank. I've got to decide. I wasn't able to send. I guess I'm probably going to be sending $100 to my landlord, hoping to God that I get some more income come in sometime this month, so I can send them some more. Promised myself I'd work harder, and I haven't. I'm not pleased with myself. I could blame my health, and I can blame the fact that the weather's turning this place into a roasting oven during the day. But thank you all. Well, all I can do is thank you all for your patience. Thank you all for sticking with me. I'll try and do. I'll try and do better by y'all. By and by. Just pray that Jesus gives me the vim and vigor and energy. The juice, the creative juice to start being genuinely productive again, not just frittering my time away. There's a part of me that all I want to do is just curl up and make everything go away right now. And I can't let it keep winning. I'm not going to mope. I am not going to. I want to end this on a positive. I want this show.
I want this show to end on a positive note, doggone it.
Yes. Letters. Yes. Let's put those up. They're shiny. Okay. The only person that's been talking so far has been Ben. Ben's okay, but we got two other people in the audience. Okay. Would you do me a big favor? Click on the thumbs up on this thing. Click on the thumbs up. Click on the thumbs up. You know, just to mess with YouTube's algorithm. He's got ratings now. What's going on? Nothing makes sense. Now, show some thumbs up love. Come on. Love me. Oh, wide. Got some people out there still playing with some firecrackers. I can hear them. How's things with you all people? Come on. Talk to me. Tell me. Come on, Ben. How are things?
Where are you from, and what do you do for a living? And how's every little thing?
Come on, talk to me. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute to type your answer. I'll be flipping through my computer, checking my mail, making sure nothing horrible is about to burst out of my computer in the form of a virus. Okay, what do you guys say? What do you guys say for yourselves? You haven't got anything to say for yourselves. Okay, well, it's 9:30 at night. It's dark. Don't go out there. It's dark. It's scary out there. All right, it is. It is. Okay, I'm just sitting here spinning my wheels. I'm just sitting here spinning my wheels. Time to move on. Uh, I'm not sure when I'm going to do my next broadcast. Maybe Sunday, maybe Monday. I'm going incognito for the next 24 hours, I believe. Just to try and purge my system. Get back that manic energy I had at the beginning of the week. I don't even have an office. I don't even go anywhere. I don't have an office job or anything, and here I am. I'm already the week tuckers me out. You know, thank God it's Friday. You didn't go anywhere. You didn't do nothing. Yes. I'm a bum. Just did some writing, drew a couple of comics. That's all I did. It's got to change. I've got to change. I'm going to be going now. Thank you all for watching. Y'all take care and have a nice night, alright? Bye bye.